Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
All right, guys, this is old school. Will. I ran across a video this morning that it really touched me to the core of my soul. This video was of a man sitting outside, and he had a spool of wire in his hand, and he was talking to his wife. At least I think that was his wife. This particular video got to me because I'm more than sure that probably the majority of men can understand what this man said. I know I do. When you look back over your life and you use an analogy of holding a spool of wire, and he was trying to get across to his, I'm just going to say it was his wife. He was trying to get across to his wife of 40 years when he first bought that spool of wire. 40 years of his life. And now that spool was almost gone. His wife didn't have a clue as to what he was trying to tell her. Men suffer in silence. Lord knows I know that one firsthand. We don't express our feelings. At least real men don't. Real men don't cry unless it's getting to that critical point, very critical point of his life. But if you have a man that opens up to you like this man did, I have to admit, I don't know if it was a skit or if it was really real. But it really touched me of how he tried to come out and share what was in his life. And his wife brushed that off on the side by talking about some cap he had on. She didn't hear a word that man was trying to tell him. Was trying to tell her. She didn't hear one single solitary word. All she was focusing on is he was wearing some dumb cap. That's why at the end of it, he said, I'm done. Lord knows I know that because I've said that 3 different times. When that man goes into silence, when he stops talking to you, when he stops sharing with you, he's done. And a lot of women, and I'm not saying all women, please don't mistake that. But the women that file for divorce and wonder what went wrong with their man, you need to look at yourself. Because if that man goes silent, each time he goes silent, it's not because of him. It's because of you. Because he no longer feels that he can share anything Ooh, my pressure is really going up. He feel like he can't share anything with you. I told you on my platform here, I'm going to tell it like it is. I really am, and I think this is the only video I had that I've done that's really touched me is in the way this is really touching me. I felt his pain. I felt every ounce of his pain, trying to share his life through a spool of wire with his wife, and she did not have a clue. So, ladies, if this is you, if your man shuts up, becomes silent, if your man tells you the worst thing in your life that you can do is to have him shut down as far as talking, he's telling you something. Men are simple. They don't ask for much. They do ask for respect. But if you're too busy to listen to your husband the way you want your husband to listen to everything that comes out of your mouth, you're destined for doom because it's not going to work. Period. It's not a debatable issue. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm mad or ticked off. I'm not really sorry because I am mad and ticked off. Trying to share 40 years of his life and all she was concerned with was a darn cap. So I can promise you, he will never, ever after that point share anything if he stays in the relationship or the marriage. He would never share anything else with her because she showed him in that just brief moment what she thought about him and his life. I have a few clips I'm going to show you guys as far as what goes on in a man's mind, which I know most women don't care at all. One of the reasons why the divorce rates are so high. Because when a man gets fed up, first of all, he's going to shut down. And I know a lot of you out there, my ones that are listening to me, you can kind of relate. No, it's no kind of. You can relate to this because it's over. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership to where each of you listen intensely to each other. Not a one-way street where you're always where a woman always wants to take and not give anything back to that man. Eventually, with the turmoil that he has to go through on the daily life as far as working and dealing with the morons at work and all of this stuff in this society, and then have to come home and deal with it all over again. In this generation today, from what I'm reading now, the marriage rate is definitely going to decline, and I know exactly the reason why. And unfortunately, this generation can blame the generation prior to it because they did not teach their daughters how to be wives. And some of them didn't teach their husbands or their sons how to be men. Because I'm talking so long. I'm gonna only show a couple of clips. I had about 5 or 6. Matter of fact, I might just go ahead. I don't know if most of you watch it or not, but I'm tell you what, old school is giving you some information you need to listen to if you want to keep a marriage, or if you want to understand why men are no longer in the game of getting married. This one-way street in a relationship has to stop. The selfishness has to stop. The entitlement has to stop. If you got a good man, he's going to take care of you for the rest of your life. But if you're a bad wife, he's going to say, I can't deal with this. It's bad enough dealing with those idiots at work or the morons at work and come home and deal with another one. It ain't going to work. Period. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
What is it?
It's wire. It's a spool of wire. And I'm almost out of it. Can you see the spool of wire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out of it.
Okay.
And I've had this spool of wire for like 40 years. I bought it like this it's on a piece of a long time ago, but it's like 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense? This is what's left.
I'm sorry to hear that, and it's sad for you, but you're wearing your Jets hat, and I'm a little concerned right now that you're wearing your Jets hat. I thought that's why you were crying.
Okay, I'm done.
When a man opens up, when he really opens up, don't you use what he said when he was open to prove a point when you want to win an argument. You will never hear the full story from us ever again. Men are not emotionless. We have deep emotions. We just don't know how to express them. If you make us feel unsafe, you'll never hear from us again. If I tell you something in a moment of vulnerability and you use it against me in an argument, you can forget me talking to you forever. And you keep talking about he quiet, he shut down, he's in his man cave, he won't open up, because when he did open up, you shut the door on him. And we'll start say stuff like this. How are you? Good. I ain't good, but I just ain't telling you.
Some of our men are at the house suffering in silence right now simply because we are not paying attention to their needs. And they're never going to tell you this because men aren't as vocal as we are. So they suffer in silence because they know that you're either going to not be able to handle it or you're going to react from a place of emotion, just like women do. So at the end of the day, ladies, it's up to us to pay attention to our men. The same way that we have needs and desires and wants, so do they. It should not be happy wife, happy life. It should be happy spouse, happy house, because there are two people in this house that deserve love and to be happy. It should not ever just be about one person. So ladies, the same way we want loyalty, we want them to compliment us, we want them to buy us gifts, we want to know that we're on their mind, vice versa. Flip it all around. What you are wanting to get, give it back to him the same way. Also, ladies, men don't like to always be the initiator of sex. Sometimes you should initiate it. He want to know that you find him sexy too. It goes both ways, ladies.
I'll make this as simple as I can. I love you. That's my rock bottom. That's my immutable. My damn the naked soul. They say that love is pure and generous. It's not. It's small and selfish. The only people who don't look back with regret are idiots and psychopaths. And I got a lifetime of regrets, boy. Why? But why? I mean, what kind of God? What kind of world? It's a stinking con game. You grew up being told, wait for the sweets and the roses. Then they hit you with a pickaxe in the ear. Grief, they say you pass through it. I pray for your happiness.
It's funny a man can sit in silence in his room, the bathroom, on his bike, in a car, and his life will be crashing all around him. Once he lets all his crazy thoughts get the best of him, he regains his control. He gets up and goes on about his day, and you'll never even know that he just had a mental breakdown. He hides his pain behind a smile, because he was raised to shake it off. Men don't show signs of weakness. You're supposed to be strong, so that's what he does. He puts on a fake smile to be strong.
You ever ask a man how he's doing and he says, I'm alright. I'm here to tell you, that man is not alright. That man is battling demons that you cannot even possibly imagine. That man is struggling every single day to find a reason to keep going. And the reason we say we're alright is because as a man, nobody really fucking cares what you're going through. So why even bother to say it? But you know what? I feel you, brother. Because, I'm alright too.
A man who keeps to himself and moves in silence is a man who understands his value. Trust me, he's learned that not everyone deserves access to his thoughts or his plans. He doesn't need to broadcast his moves or seek validation from others. His strength comes from knowing his worth and staying focused on his goals. He's not afraid to walk alone because he knows where he's headed. He chooses his circle carefully, letting in only those who respect his time and effort. He's seen betrayal, fake alliances, and empty promises, and he's left all of it behind. He's built a life where peace takes priority over approval. He's content with his solitude because it allows him to grow without distractions. He knows the trust is earned, not freely given, and he values loyalty over popularity. His silence speaks louder than words, and his actions prove his worth every single day.
You alright?
Hey.
I said, are you alright?
I'm fine.
Hey, talk to me. Whatever you say to me in confidence is between us, you know that, right?
I don't have anything to tell you.
You know, a man who's silent all the time, doing his things and not bothering anybody. Be sure that man has been through a lot. He stays alone and doesn't mind it. He doesn't mind eating by himself or entertaining himself. Don't show that man pity because he's strong. Life tried to beat him into submission, but he survived, and that's where he gained his strength. Don't think he's weird because he doesn't talk to you. He just chose not to, as he doesn't want troubles in his life. If you see a man like this, know that he learned how to live with himself. He's at peace and doesn't care what others think about him. So don't be an idiot and try to bother that man's peace because he won't even notice.
3 signs a man is broken. 1. Life has made him so quiet. He just listens now. No more talking, no more arguing, no more explaining, just silence. At some point he lost his voice and no longer wants to risk using it again because it seems like every time he voices his thoughts or opinions, he becomes the bad guy. Even when she was in the wrong, somehow it always came back on him. And when he tried to express how what she did made him feel, she never validated his feelings or apologized. Instead, she would tell him how she was the victim and how what he said was hurtful and wrong. 2. He feels like he either has to suffer in silence or become the bad guy, and he just doesn't have the energy in him to fight that battle anymore. He's tired of being gaslit or blamed for how he reacts to things or feels the way he feels, so now he just suffers in silence while he pretends like everything is okay. 3. If you ask him how he's doing, he'll always say he's fine or okay, but that's the farthest thing from the truth. He's not sure how much longer he can keep this up, but one thing is becoming clear. He's let people become way too comfortable with disrespecting him. The more chances he gives them, the less they value him. They're not afraid of losing him because they know no matter what, he is loyal and won't leave. It's true what they say. Nice guys really do.
A man who stands alone is a very dangerous man. You'll never see his scars, but they're there, buried deep from battles he's fought in silence. He's faced his demons alone and won, and that makes him more dangerous than you can imagine. Still waters run deep. Don't mistake his silence for weakness. This man doesn't need a crowd. He doesn't need validation. He's built himself from the ground up, brick by brick. If you're lucky enough to be led into his circle, understand what that means. You've been chosen, not by chance, but because he saw something real in you. Beware the fury of a patient man. This is no ordinary person. He's been broken before, and instead of shattering, he rebuilt himself stronger. So, if you're in his life, understand this. You're either in or you're out. And if you ever make the mistake of crossing him, know that his silence isn't surrender. It's a warning.